Mr.
So one thing I didn't get to, you can, hopefully now the world's hopefully changing for the better again. There's seminars, you've got to go and find it. Claudio is another, he's the perfect example of that. He was in Switzerland where there was no wrestling, right? And then he went everywhere he could in Europe to find places or seminars or places that he could learn how to get better at this. But he put an incredible amount of work in. So that's one thing you can do. You can hopefully find a company that has enough shows to get. Let me say this, another thing where I don't think I've said this on this show. Use wrestling and don't let it use you. There is nothing wrong with just doing local shows on a weekend at where you live. Because if you want to be a full-time pro, it's very difficult to get in it. It's very difficult to get to that level. It's very difficult to stay at that level. Take stock and really think about all the things that you need to think about if you want to be a pro. It's so difficult to get there in the first place. But if you can find some local shows that you can be on and enjoy it and not have to constantly be trying to up your game, and you can have a nice match with your friend on a weekend, that's probably the best way to do this. Because if you get into this is hard work. If it's not, you probably won't be staying around very long. So if that's probably the best way to do it. Get an education, get a job, enjoy life. Because I've given this speech before to many people that have had tryouts with me or I've done seminars. If you don't like flying, not for you. If you don't like driving, this job's not for you. A weekend driving, few hundred miles, okay. But if you don't like it, it's probably not for you. If you're not willing to work when you're hurt, probably not for you. If you want to see your family all the time, probably not for you. There's a lot that comes with this. There's a lot of, I hate to use those old terms, but a lot of sacrifices that come with this if you want to be a full-time professional wrestler. So consider all these things before you, it's easy to say I'm going to be a wrestler, but are you willing to do everything that it takes to be there? Are you willing to put the hours in? Right? Are you willing to train? Are you willing to do all the heartache that comes with not getting to where you think you should be? Because there's only one or two people in the entirety of this industry have ever got to where they really thought they should be. I'm very content with my career.
Say you're one of them.
Yeah, I'm one of them. But I'm also not. I'm not envious or jealous of anybody, ever. Don't care. I'm not competitive in the slightest, which is a lot of people are. So every day's been a bonus for me, and I'm not just saying these words lightly. I wanted to be a wrestler, and I was happy working on a fairground, and I was happy doing it. And if I could have stayed there the rest of my life, I'd have been happy, or I had at least a few years there and moved on to something else. It's all been a bonus. I see a lot of unhappy wrestlers and a lot of miserable people in this job. It's too hard. Right? Do something else maybe. Or accept it. You got to do one or the other. But that's if you're in it. If you're not in it and you're thinking about getting into it, make sure you really think about this. Do I really want to go through all that? And if it's, yeah, and know that there's only one or two people who ever get everything they want out of this. And sometimes you get things that you don't want. Because I know a lot of rich people who've made a lot of money in this, and they're not happy at all.
Yep, for sure.
Right? So
when it comes to,
I've blown all my money on, like, you know,
lizards,
that, nice clothes, drinking, loads of naughty ladies, and the rest I just spent frivolously. That's a George Best line, by the way. I'm not claiming that line. George Best, the footballer, said that once. It was great. But no, think about it, right? There's nothing wrong with just going and training at a good school and then just doing local shows and enjoy it for what it is, and not try to, like, drive yourself insane. Because I do see a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not getting what they want. Well, it's not a fair business, right? So if you're not willing to put that work in, or if you can just whatever, or if you just want to do a certain style of wrestling, that's great. But think about what you're getting into, and let's get off this subject because it's getting a bit dark.
Right. Well, let me ask you this.